What's up, Overwatch fans? We are live in Los Angeles for the 2019 Overwatch League season. Week 2 is already underway, and we've got 8 more teams doing battle today. Defiant and the Atlanta Reign are in the building. The boys from A-Town are hoping to return to the win column after splitting a pair of matches in Week 1. Standing in their way is another expansion team from a bit farther north. The Toronto Defiant won their only match of the season over Houston. They will look to make a great second impression against a Reign squad that is quickly becoming a fan favorite. We are inside the Blizzard Arena for Week 2 of Stage 1. The fans are making their way in, and we've got a heck of a show for them. Welcome to the Watchpoint pre-show. We get you set for every match day. I'm Malik Forte, joined by Zoe, Brent, and Mr. X at the end. What's up, homie?
Oh, I'm excited, man. Today's gonna be sick. I'm excited to be back on the pre-show with you and Zoe. It's all right that Bren's here as well.
I genuinely can't believe they let you on this desk without your box.
What?
Oh,
it's
boy.
actually incredible they managed to
I requested a booster, like a C. Like
I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're embracing it, man.
Yeah, I got a thing with my height. I always got to be the tallest person there.
I got to do a show with both of you guys here. This is going to be interesting. All right, so lots of storylines in play for today's matches, and we've got you covered. The Los Angeles Valiant won Stage 4 of our 2018 season. They'll tell you why they're setting their sights even higher this season. Plus, we'll hear from an emotional Gamsu about being moved to Shanghai as he gets to face the team that traded him today, which is going to be crazy. And how is Defiant fitting in with his teammates? We found a video of their comms from last week that says it all. And once the action gets going on stage, you'll see Defiant and the Atlanta Reign taking on Toronto. Shanghai will try again for their first win ever against the Boston Uprising, and later, the Houston Outlaws will take on the Hangzhou Spark. But we'll begin with a rematch of our Stage 4 finals from last season. The Los Angeles Valiant won their matchup against the NY Excelsior, but things feel a little different this time around. The Valiant lost their only match so far, while the NY Excel have cruised to a 2-0 start. Zoe, what is working well for the NY Excel to start the season?
You know what? As per usual, everything seems to work well for them. I do think that they make just the right amount of adjustments during the offseason. Nene has been a fantastic addition to this team. He seems to gel so very well. Here is that guy, and you always have to watch out for him. His Zarya has been absolutely outstanding. He is stacking up so well against the best of the league. His Zarya statistics have actually been blowing my mind.
Well, you think about it, they didn't really have a Zarya player last year. No,
yeah.
Neko really kind of only plays Diva in that off-tank role. They needed a Zarya. They went out and got a great one. And I think you look at NY Excelsior, they have so many great DPS players. If you take a look at the Valiant roster, on the other hand, like I think, you know, their tanks and their supports are very strong. I think, you know, Kassa and I think Izayaki, and then I think now you see Kuki playing support. I think they're pretty solid. Yeah. You know, Space, one of the better off tanks. I think it's their DPS lineup that's gonna, you know, potentially let this team down in the future. You have Kariv, who moves from flex support over to DPS, KSF, Agilities. You know, I'm a little bit higher on Agilities. I think some others. I think he's got a lot of potential. We just haven't seen anybody really tap it. I'm worried about their DPS lineup going forward, though. I think if we get into a DPS heavy meta, they could be in some trouble.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to figure out that damage problem. Now, Bryn, there's some great individual matchups in this one, but which head-to-head battle are you most excited for?
For me personally, Malik, I'm looking at the 2 Freak Beast Zenyatta players. You've got Jonak, you've got Izayaki. These lads are absolutely massive, honestly. I was so impressed with Izayaki when he played against Hangzhou. He played incredibly well, but the most surprising aspect of that for me is the fact that he is comparable to Jonak, considering that Jonak gets all the resources from NY Excelsior, whereas on the side of Valiant, Izayaki, you know, he kind of, you know, he doesn't get as many compared to him, but he's still putting up comparable numbers. I think this is really good for Valiant. He's a core player that honestly you could build a roster around in the future, so I got high hopes for him.
Yeah, I think once they figure out how to play around Izayaki, I think you'll start seeing him, you know, his stats get a little bit closer to where Jonak's are. I think, you know, he's definitely got the talent to match him in some of those, you know, categories. It's whether the Valiant decide to dump all those resources into him.
Might be an all-star player they need to learn to synergize around for sure. But our first match of today is a battle between 2 expansion teams as the Atlanta Reign take on the Toronto Defiant. Atlanta made waves in their first match by shutting out Florida, but they fell short to the Fusion on Sunday. Toronto beat Houston in their only match so far. Bryn, what do you like about this Defiant squad? I heard you talking about them backstage a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I've been looking at these boys. You know, it's a good little squad that they put together, isn't it? Like, individually, there's a lot of skill here, and it's just about finding the pieces and how they fit together. I know for a fact that the coaching staff, they went for a money ball method, kind of, when it comes to like looking at the statistics of how they played previously
Right.
and to see how it all fitted together now. So I genuinely do think people are sleeping on the Toronto Defiant a little bit here, despite their game against Houston, where admittedly, you know, it was abysmal in the first half, but they managed to bring it back. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, they have great pieces, right? They have individual talent. We have some new blood. We have some older faces.
Veterans.
Not older faces. Yeah, veteran, I think, is where I want to go with this one. Amongst them is Neko. However, Neko is out for the first 3 games. And that means that 8 and Roki had to step it up. Now, the issue is that neither of them is actually playing Zenyatta. So 8 had to take over that role. And if we looked at his statistics, he didn't compare well league-wide. It was rough for him as well as Roki, and I do think that that was unfortunately a very glaring issue that team had. Houston didn't capitalize on it, but I do not think that the Reign would let them get away with it.
Right, they're gonna have to figure that out.
Absolutely.
For sure. Let's not forget about our damage dealers, though. Mr. X, who should people be keeping an eye on in this matchup?
I mean, I think the obvious answer for Atlanta is Defiant, and I think for Toronto, you look at Ivy. You know, he had there's some up and down performances on Zarya in their match against the Outlaws. I think, you know, probably even I think they would tell you it's some nerves at the beginning, but I think you need to see both of these players need to step it up in this match. I know we take a look at some of the numbers. The Defiant, he's had some really sick moments. It's just been the consistent play, you know, from start of match to the beginning. You know, the hero damage, you know, almost even across the boards, you know, very comparable in terms of final blows. Interesting that Ivy has, you know, the higher average energy when he has such significant less damage blocked.
True.
Which is quite interesting. But I think, you know, when you see a matchup like this, I think whichever Zarya has the better game today can lead their team to victory.
Right. You know, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. Defiant busting out that Torbjorn in his first map in Overwatch League, his history period, that was an instant classic for me, but it almost didn't happen. So let's check this out.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah, we go.
Okay. You Toru. Woo!
Go Tor! Yeah.
Let's go.
Nice.
파이팅!
Let's go, dude!
He didn't even want to play it. He didn't even want to do it. His team egged him on.
It
The
didn't
peer
take
pressure.
much convincing, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think he was on board with it pretty quickly.
I'll tell you this, that's the opposite of what happens in a comp match.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
typically when you pick Torbjorn, people are like a second away from blocking you.
That's it.
His team is like, go ahead, do it.
I'm going straight on someone's avoid list when I pick Torb. That's all I know.
Right.
Yeah, you can hit P and get to recent players pretty quick.
Exactly. Well, guys, besides
one
the
step
Fran,
away.
another huge story from last week was Gamsu being traded from the Boston Uprising to the Shanghai Dragons. When we come back, we'll hear from the Uprising's president, Huck, about how the move went down and how difficult it was for Gamsu.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
The Boston Uprising. This squad is no longer featuring their main tank. Gamsu is gone.
Overall in the offseason, obviously we made a lot of changes.
The Shanghai Dragons acquired Gamsu from the Uprising.
With Gamsu and the pickups that we did, there were definitely times where we were on the fence. Saying goodbye to a player that you've been with for a year is always going to be a little bit emotional. Depending how that player was within the team, you know, it can get worse or better.
How did you find out about the trade?
처음 팀을 이적하게 된다는 얘기를 들었을 때 갑작스러운 얘기라서 당황을 많이 했는데 있다 보니까 뭐 현실에 최선을 다하자 생각해서 뭐 샹하이에서 최선을 다하겠다고 마음을 먹었어요.
Gamsu, the new main tank, walks out first, leading the charge.
제가 보스턴에 있을 때 스테이지 3대 10연승을 했는데 사실 대회 때 진짜 다 같이 정신 차려서 해보자 그런 기분으로 10연승을 하게 됐거든요. 그런 마인드를 약간 상하이로 옮겨서 대회 때 다 같이 마음먹으면 이길 수 있다를 제가 먼저 보여주고 영승 40패 이런 인식이 더 이상 안 생기도록 만들겠습니다.
Ooh, I got goosebumps watching that. Gamsu was one of the most popular main tanks in our inaugural season, and his Winston was in the top half of the league in most major categories. He'll try to duplicate that success against his old team today. It's well documented that the Dragons have never won a match. They are 0-42. The Uprising went 1-1 in our first week. Mr. X, do you think that they'll get some vengeance from Gamsu when he faces the Uprising?
Yeah, I think, you know, Gamsu's going to come out and a little bit fire underneath him, right? No, yeah. I think, you know, in one of the statements Huck made, like, they were even talking about maybe moving him into, like, some kind of coaching role. You think, like, okay, like, if you're a player at the highest level and somebody's talking to you about becoming a coach, like, they kind of think you're on the way out, right? I mean, you gotta
perfect
come
stage.
Out. Yeah, you gotta come out with some fire here if you're Gamsu. And you know the rest of his teammates on Shanghai. You're kind of playing for Gamsu in this match. I think you have to see a good Shanghai today. I feel like I've said that, you know, 43 other times that we've seen them play. But I think today they need to come out and they need to really perform for their main tank.
Yeah, it's speaking of main tanks, I was actually really impressed to see Fusion stepping it up for the Boston Uprising. It was his debut on this stage, and he looked like he belonged. Let's face it, he looked like a veteran on that stage.
Yeah,
there were no nerves coming into that. He had big, impactful play. I wanted to hype his stats up, but frankly, they don't actually represent what was going on. In fact, they look fairly bad. But the plays he had, let's ignore the numbers. If we're just looking at the impact of his plays, his positioning, and the good comms they had throughout the entirety of their matches, yeah. I think this guy is going to go places.
Yeah, he definitely looked as battle-tested as ever. We'll get our first look at the league's lone New Zealander, Color Hex, today. Brent, what kind of impact could he make for the Uprising?
Yeah, he's going to be, I think, making waves for the Boston Uprising. This guy was honestly insane in the Australian sort of section of the world. You know, I think they call that the Oceanic region.
I was going to ask you, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Matt. Yep. It's all good. But he is honestly a fantastic, flexible player. And for Boston, that's exactly what they were missing. So I think he's going to be a big pickup. He was a bit of a naughty boy. That's why he's only playing now. You know, he got banned for a couple of games, but they finally let him in. You know, they let him into the arena. So I'm expecting big things from Boston.
It's going to be dope to watch his debut. Now, our final matchup today gives us a little old versus new. The Houston Outlaws have the oldest average age in the league, while the Hangzhou Spark have the youngest, or one of the youngest. So far, the youth have found more success as the Spark are 2-0. Brent, how has this Hangzhou squad found good coordination early on in the season?
For me personally, Malik, I've been dead impressed with the tank line for this team. They have outstanding talents in that roles with them Nosemai and Gushui. Honestly, two fantastic main tanks. It feels like a similar problem to what London had in the 2018 season when he had Gesture and Fisher. They had too many good main tanks to pick from. I mean, obviously now they've got issues where Gushui speaks Mandarin, he doesn't speak much Korean or English, so it's hard for him to communicate and get worked in. But this is a squad that honestly can go so far off the back of that main tank play.
Right. It seems like everything is working for Hangzhou, but not so much for the Houston Outlaws as they are starting at 0-2. So what can they do to be more versatile?
I mean, I guess a lot of things. I was actually really excited when they popped on stage and we saw Spree back in the lineup. He was the one who flexed over to the Zarya last season, and Coolmat was more their Diva specialist. However, I got a little bit confused. Their Diva stats are actually fairly even. However, it was in fact Coolmat who was sharing that Zarya duty together with Dante, and it was Spree who only played Diva on the stage. So I'm not quite sure what the subbing plan here is for Houston.
I think they just need to figure out how to use Dante. I think, you know, he's obviously their big pickup in the offseason, and then you put him into the lineup, and you got to figure out the best possible way to use, you know, a player like Dante. Extremely versatile. I think you see the Sombra play. I think that's probably the best way they can go about using him using him as a Sombra player, and whether you're going to play Sombra, triple tank, triple support, or you use him as your Zarya player. Right. And I think if you're going to run like a consistent Diva, then maybe you play Cool Map more, which we've kind of been seeing them play, you know, I a little bit more. The issue is that when you play, you know, the Sombra, you still need the Zarya, right? So then that's when you would want somebody like Spree, but then you have to move him to Diva if you're going to have the Dante switch over to Zarya. So I think it makes it tough on their lineup a little bit.
Right. It seems like there's a lot of confusion with those guys. So I hope they get it figured out. The Spark is not a team you want to be confused against. But like the Outlaws, the Los Angeles Valiant are also hoping to get in the win column today. We talked to the team's stars about how they've changed from last season and why it's never an easy day if you're playing in LA. That ahead on the Watchpoint pre-show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back inside the Blizzard Arena for the Watchpoint pre-show. We are less than 15 minutes from the action on stage. Our second match of the day will feature the hometown Los Angeles Valiant. After winning Stage 4 in 2018, the Valiant bowed out quickly in the postseason. Though their roster hasn't changed too drastically, they have a new feel this season and a new attitude as well.
We sort of had a rough season in the early half. We sort of meshed really well towards the second half. We had a really good Stage 3 and an amazing Stage 4.
There it is! The Los Angeles Valiant claim the Stage 4 trophy, and this young team was hungry for glory.
I think we sort of got a little overconfident heading into the playoffs.
They make this one short and sweet, 3 straight wins to seal the deal.
I think the reason Valiant came up short was because of complacency.
They were so close, but simply seemed to run out of gas here in the end of playoffs.
We can take the momentum that we built from Season 1 by just the amount of knowledge and synergy that we have as a team.
Costa gets him! Wow, just firing with that pistol.
로스터 변경도 거의 없기 때문에 더 좋은 팀 플레이를 할 수 있다 생각해서.
Oh, Pete uses the opportunity to get a big fat shatter.
Team should fear Valiant because I'm on the roster.
Whoa! Space with the 3K.
People should fear the Valiant because of what we've accomplished. We are experienced, we know what we're doing, and I don't think you can ever come up against the Valiant and expect to have an easy game.
Space is up to his old tricks already this season. Among 24 divas, he's second in damage per 10 minutes and has eaten the 5th most ultimates. We'll see if he can keep it going today against the NY Excelsior. Okay, I've been looking forward to this segment for a long time. Now, our analysts each love to think that their hot takes are the best, but it's my turn to decide whose are the hottest. We're calling this Hot Takes or hot sauce?
Oh, man.
Let me say that again. Hot sauce.
Oh, man.
This isn't a game that you want to lose, guys, all right? Now, we've got 3 fiery hot Overwatch League sauces today. There's Hot Banero, there's Sinatra Sriracha, and there's Jonax Jalapeno Fire Sauce. And it's pretty simple. Each analyst will, give a hot take. I'll decide which one is the least spicy, and they'll have to eat one of these painfully hot sauces. Zoe, you're gonna start us off.
Oh boy. All right, here's my hot take. Ado will end the 2019 season with the least amount of match victories in the entirety of the league.
Wow, okay. All right.
He had a 0-40-something season. Of course he's gonna.
Ado played for
Come on, son.
Oh, wait. And he was on Shanghai last year watching
Yeah, Shanghai last year and now Justice. So,
Bryn, your turn.
All right, my hot take. I'm probably going to get roasted on Twitter for this.
of course you do.
Like you don't other
I
times.
think the Houston Outlaws are not going to win a single game.
Whoa.
Single game when?
Really? No,
Stage
they're
one
veterans.
Yeah, that's kind of open-ended.
That's wild. That's wild. Mr. X.
2019, the league.
I think Vancouver's the best team in the league right now. I think Wolf and Achilles have convinced me.
I've ever
Oh,
heard
I know.
in my life.
Look. When I heard about this segment, I thought it was the lead.
Wait.
Hot take.
Order. Wait
Malika
a second.
friends, bro. Come on,
Matt, you're eating, bro. That was too safe.
Yeah.
That was way too safe.
Do I know
You're
which
eating.
sauce I get? Or is this
It's
just
the
You don't get a
hot
choice.
Matt?
You
I
don't
know
get a
it's
choice.
hot.
It's the hottest one.
All right.
Pick it up, eat it.
Yeah.
Go for
In
it.
your mouth.
So yummy.
There's a little bit of tongue action there, Matt. You okay?
Is it pretty hot?
Is it
Pretty
hot?
hot?
How hot?
It's hot. How hot
Is
is
it
it?
hot but hot?
Which
Or-
one's the
That
best?
doesn't seem hot enough. Let's do another round. Sorry, go for it. Give me another hot take.
Oh, Shu will outclass Jonak at the end of the season.
Ooh, I don't know, Bren.
All right, my hot take is I think
I wasn't
Fisher
prepared for this.
is going to be the downfall for Seoul Dynasty.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. X, go ahead.
My second hot take is that Bren is an analyst. Sideshow's been the one, the front man of the analysis duo, but it's really my boy Bren here who's putting in the work, the smarts.
Okay, Shu outclass
No
from
problem.
Jonak. I can see. I like that.
Don't make me
it's
do
pretty
that
spicy. The last 2 though I didn't like, so both of you guys are eating.
We're eating?
Go for it. Yep. Go for it.
What is this like?
Come on, eat it up. Eat it up.
That was me.
Yeah, you too, bro. Are you gonna add more?
Okay.
Not hot enough for you? Not hot enough for you, Brent? Go ahead, spice it up a little more. Spice it up.
Wait, what?
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I bet
Don't
you
you
won't.
won't.
I bet
You
you
won't? Oh,
there's something coming out.
Try harder. Oh man, he's gonna lose a tooth.
That's so, oh my goodness. Guys. All right.
Give me a finger.
Everybody give it up for these guys for taking that one for the team. Goodness gracious. Coming up, DeFran's popularity is taking Overwatch League by storm, and he'll be taking the stage in less than 10 minutes as Atlanta takes on Toronto. This is the Watchpoint pre-show. And here are the Reign getting all set for today's match. The boys from the A, looking like one of the strongest expansion teams so far, but they're going to be doing their thing against the Toronto Defiant. The boys from a little farther up north. I know Drake is going to be rooting for this team all day long. Now, guys, before we get to our predictions, we've got time for one quick back cap. Shanghai is 0-42 all-time. Brent, when will the Dragons get their first win?
Today's the day, mate. Today's the day. That's
Today's the day.
I'm looking at Dragons. I also can't talk because, my God, that hot sauce.
I feel you. I took a drop of it. It's burning me. It's burning my mouth.
It actually does hurt.
Seriously.
That was unfair.
That's hot. That's hot.
So why? What about Shanghai's?
I think
game
genuinely, Gamsu is just gonna go out there tonight. Like you saw from that promo piece. We all saw the promo piece.
Yeah.
He's annoyed. He's angry, man. He's honestly angry. I think that man is going to be teaching them all the strategies of Boston.
All right, well, it's time for our predictions. Let's take a look at them now. So and Mr. X are on the same page today with Atlanta, New York, and Boston. Brent likes Toronto, the Valiant, and Shanghai. Everyone is taking the Spark over Houston. Today's face-off is between Soy for Atlanta.
What's up, Brent?
And Brent for Toronto. 30-second face-off. Zoe, go.
All right. If you chose Toronto to win, you can scram. The Reign battle right to victory on a tram.
Get him,
the
Zoe.
man couldn't do it. What? Okay, your ad-libs threw me off, yo. Pompo, Erster, Ducko got a plan. Is that nothing?
I don't need to say anything. I've already won.
Oh, okay. Well, how's that? How's that?
I've already won.
Yeah, you got to freestyle back. Come on.
Free step back.
You didn't even do anything.
Okay, I think
You
I
have
won
nothing to
this
say.
round. I won this round.
I think they're the better team.
You think they're the better team? That's it.
They're going to win. I believe in them.
What a phenomenal answer.
All right, that's it. That's all the time we have for today. You really think Shanghai's going to be Boston?
Yeah.
He picks Shanghai. He picks Shanghai every show.
Someone's got to believe
That hot sauce went to your head, bro.
Someone's got to believe in them.
Someone has to do it.
You drank too much milk or something, man. I don't know what it is. But guys, we're just a few seconds away from the matches to start. Everybody enjoy the day.